sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session, hour 106.
It is Monday, the 16th of September, 2024, and we greet you well. Wherever in the world you are listening to us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Looking forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story. And we're taking your calls 876-922-4112-5. Text line same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And we are standing by. We have some very talented individuals who are going to be joining us in a few minutes. But right now, we are giving you an opportunity to get in your questions early in terms of questions in relation to land-related matters. Anything at all in relation to land-related matters. That is the space made available. So we look forward to your full participation here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 876-922-4112 to 5. And welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. Hello to the regulars. Good afternoon to you as well. Welcome. Good to have you on board. And Cuban in Georgia, thanks for the messages as usual. And keep them coming as we thank you for your continued listenership and support. There's a well-needed workshop that is scheduled for Wednesday, October the 2nd, 2024. And that's the Crash No More 2024 Defensive Driving Workshop. Notwithstanding the workshops, the training sessions, the announcements, the data, the issues continue. And we want to use the opportunity to encourage more of us to get involved and be a part of the solution. So we're looking forward to that program coming up on 2nd of October, which features ACP Gary McKenzie as well, facilitator Alfonso Grenell, also a part of that team. And that workshop is coming up on the 2nd of October, 2004. So we encourage more of us. It's in our best interest to play our part in keeping down those numbers. So the workshop fee $15,000 per person, 10% discount for companies with 10 or more drivers. So that's one of the features that has been used to highlight the problems on our roads. And so we want to encourage more of us to play our part in keeping the numbers down, if not close, very close, in bringing down some of those numbers as well. It's a mountainous task, it may seem, but it can be done. It can be done. And so we look forward to more of us as drivers playing our part, attending workshops like this one, and whether you are fleet managers, supervisors, public passenger operators, examiners, driving school owners, driving instructors, motorbike drivers, all drivers. And they will be presenting participatory certificates to be awarded, and that's one of the features of the event. But we should never seem daunted, because it is we are making an impact in some respects, but there's still some work to do, and it's just for us to do as much as we can. So our condolences for those who have lost relatives, friends, colleagues to road crashes and collisions. So we still have quite a bit of work to do, but we stand ready to play our part on this platform and trust that more of us are heeding the messages of slowing down and other forms of maneuverings on in the public space. So we look forward to more of you coming to the realization that we can't continue along this journey. We have to step up our game and be more involved in the exercise, more involvement. But there's an area that we're perhaps overlooking, and that's where the students are concerned. And you will notice, we have highlighted it before, a couple of high schools here in Jamaica, including Glenmuir High School, are already teaching their students about the proper use of the road network. So that is something positive. That is something to look forward to, and we want to encourage. So I think it's Glenmuir and St. Andrew High School, maybe one or two others on board as well. But it's something worth taking on board if we are going to start out right as far as the use of the road is concerned. So we want to encourage more of our people to be a part of the solution. We all know what the problems are, we all know what the situations are, but cannot be fixed without our intervention or appropriate intervention. And so let us encourage all of us to put our shoulders to the wheel and play our part in improving the use of the road network. And so, in the meantime, we continue with more just a few minutes before we get to today's edition of Land Solutions, the program where all your land related matters are dealt with. And so, let's remind you of the numbers 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their liquor piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB Bank Mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with the JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
both sides of the story.
So we're being encouraged by Simone Sobers to experience the exceptional work as a founder and president of Winsome Wishes for Kids, Jamaica, and New York, USA. And it's aimed at transforming educational opportunities for disadvantaged children in Jamaica, with over 20 years in the educational landscape, remarkable ability to gather resources. Her contributions extend beyond financial assistance to also driving professional development and academic resources to schools in Jamaica, thus improving learning outcomes. Your support can fuel her unwavering commitment to empowering children. And we're encouraged to join as part of this noble initiative and help bring educational opportunities to those in need. Her energy and never ending commitment to the needs of children in Jamaica makes her make her a genuine asset. To this cause, her personal motto today and for the future: I'm on earth for myself. I am here to help whoever, whenever, and whenever possible, she says. And she has the support of Dr. Russell, Dr. John J. Russell, Special Projects Advisor at the Winwood Institute and Associate Director of Haskins Global Literacy Hub, with decades of experience in childhood literacy. He's committed to advancing education for students with language-based learning disabilities. So in a moment, we're going to bring them on, Simone Sobers and Dr. John J. Russell, and we'll let them tell their story right here on both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106. Both sides of a story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story. Both sides of a story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story.
I sent them
Both sides of a story.
Dr. John Russell and Simone Sobers.
Both sides of a story. Both sides of a story.
And let's say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our host on today's edition of Land Solutions, Calicia Findley, attorney at law.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you. And thank you listeners for tuning in to today's edition of Land Solutions. Dervan just said, feel free to call in, send your messages, anything with respect to land. I'm going to jump right in because the messages started rolling in from this morning. An additional text line and WhatsApp line for today is also 876-881-5254. Again, that's 876-881-5254. Is it okay for an executor to know every detail of one's will before you die? Excuse me. I have a copy of my will for my executor. The will was done by a lawyer. When should I give it to her? It really is up to you if you want to share the contents of your will with your executor before you pass. The executor, for those of you who may not know, is the person you appoint to carry out your wishes when you die. So, of course, this is someone who you should be able to trust. It comes with a lot of responsibility. I think, even though it is entirely up to you, I think when you've chosen someone as your executor, clearly it's coming from a place of trust. So I see no reason for you not to want to, one, tell them that you have chosen them as your executor, and for you to share what's in your will with them. So there is no law, there is no rule that says you must tell them before, or they can only know what's in your will until after you die. You can share it with them before you die. And I think, in the interest of a transparent and open relationship, I think it's best for your executor to know exactly what's in the will and to also know what will be required of them. It's something we discuss all the time. A lot of times persons only find out that they're the executive after the person dies. It comes as a surprise to them. And I've seen it happen so many times. When they find out after the person dies, they are sometimes quite reluctant to act as the executor. So if you do not want to share every detail with your executor before you die, you don't have to. But I mean, think about it this way. When you die, you're still going to find out everything. Again, it is up to you. I think you had a second part to your question yet. When should you give the will to her? Again, it is entirely up to you, but I would give the executor the will or a copy of the will as soon as possible. Life is unpredictable. We never know when we may go. Give it to her as soon as possible. It doesn't make sense. And sometimes what happens to a lot of persons, they go to their wills and nobody knows about it apart from the witness. And if that witness is going to know where it's kept, the person dies and nobody can find the will. Nobody even knows that there's a will. So I would say give it to your executor as soon as possible. Hope that answers your question. Again, or number to call in live on air, 876-922-41135. WhatsApp 876-881-5254. What is the right way to get a tenant out of your house? I ask because my cousin's landlord showed up yesterday and disconnected her light. Let me start with the second part first. It is actually illegal for a landlord to disconnect the electricity, to disconnect the water, even if the tenant has outstanding rent. It is illegal. I've heard of cases where the landlord has removed the doors, removed the windows. That is illegal. Doesn't matter that there's money outstanding to the landlord. So What is the right way to get a tenant out of your house? The right way is to go through the process. Meaning, one, you serve a notice on the tenant, and it has to be personally served. The law actually says it should be either handed to or given to, dropped in the vicinity of the tenant. Um, if, let's say the tenant refuses to take it from you, you can drop it at their feet. So it must be personally served. In instances, you can, put it on the door, put it on the gate, but in some instances, you may need a court permission if you can't personally give it to the tenant. So, first step is to serve the tenant with a notice. Of course, the reasons in the notice must comply with the law, outstanding rent, you need the property to be repaired, you need it for your own use and possession, must state valid reasons. After the notice expires, usually 30 days, depending on the type of tenancy. Let's say it's a year-to-year tenancy, residential, usually 30 days notice. Once that expires, then you file an action in court for recovery of possession. So that is the right way to get a tenant out of your house. Serve a notice. Once it expires, you take them to court for recovery of possession. Once you get a court date, you go before the court, present your case. If you get an order from the judge, it usually will state that the tenant has to be out by a certain time and that they have to pay up whatever is outstanding. If that time comes in the order and it passes and the tenant is still there, you then have to go back to court to get an order for the bailiff to physically remove the tenant. It is a long process, but that is the right way. You can't just go in and literally pull the tenant out. I've seen cases like that. You can't go in and throw the tenant's belongings out. Again, you can't disconnect utilities. So that is the right way to get a tenant out. Yes, it is frustrating. I know it is, especially a lot of the tenants are unreasonable. They're late with their payment, but you have to follow the law because if you don't, you yourself will be in trouble. The tenant can sue you. In Jamaica, it's referred to as distress. If you throw a tenant out, if you throw their belongings out, disconnect electricity, it's referred to the legal term is distress, and it is against the law to levy distress against the tenant. My father willed land to me in 1975. What's the first step for me to get the title? All right, let me just deal with the time frame first. 1975. Have you been doing anything with the land since 1975? Have you taken up possession? Do you live there? Do you plant crops on it? Do you rent it out? Do you still have a physical connection with the land? If so, you can go ahead and make a direct application for the title. I say this because usually if someone wills land to you, the first step would be to get the will probated and then to get it transferred in your name. But you say that it was willed to you from 1975. Because so much time has passed, meaning more than 12 years, if you can show that you have a physical connection with the land, then you may go ahead and make a direct application for the title. If you have just left it up, you haven't seen it in these 40 years, almost 50 years, you may have a challenge. So if that is the case, what has been happening with the land since then? It is quite common, and it's kind of ironic that so many people in Jamaica are squatting. So many people wish they could own land. But on the other hand, you have many persons who have property willed to them, and for whatever reason or another, they've just, let the land go. You'd be surprised how many people come into us and say, I've had this land willed to me. I don't know what's happening with it. In fact, I don't even know where the land is. So if you do not know anything about the land, if you've never taken up possession, it is a possibility that you could have lost out on it. As you know, there's squatters waiting to swoop down. Someone could be there already. So go and check what's happening, if anything, on the land. If nothing, then if you have the original will, we could make an application for probate on that basis. So send me a follow-up message. Let me know what you have done in connection with the land. Have you lived there? Have you taken care of it? Have you pushed it, etc.? If you get a title by adverse possession, is it a lesser title than if you had bought it or if it was willed to you? You got a similar question recently. No, it is not a lesser. Whether you get it by a will, whether you buy it, or whether you apply for it adverse possession. Even if you are a squatter, once you can prove that you have been there for the period required by law, you make a legitimate application. It is yours. It is a valid. No, a title acquired by adverse possession is not less than, or it doesn't have less significance than if you had bought it or if it was willed to you or given to you during the person's lifetime. And in just the same way that you could get a mortgage on your property, same way that you could sell your property, once the title or once the property becomes yours, once your title application has been approved, you can do anything at all with the land. So don't think that having a title by adverse possession is any different from any other title. Over to Facebook, can I put a caveat on my own property? Yes, actually, you can. You can. And a lot of persons think that you can only put a caveat on someone else's property. Let's say you paid a deposit to buy land from a man and he's not giving you a title. You can put a caveat on that property. But yes, you can also most certainly put a caveat on your own property. A typical scenario is if you think someone may be trying to do a fraudulent transfer of your property. Once you put a caveat on it, if anyone is trying to transfer, trying to do anything untoward and illegal with the property, the titles office will notify you. And remember, the purpose of a caveat is really a notice. This is a notification. It is not a permanent solution. It is a temporary measure. So please don't think that because you have a caveat on either your property or another place that you have a solution to your problem. Think about it as a stopgap. You put a caveat on it and then you move on to the substantive action. This is the solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Attention, gaming machine owners and operators. Don't gamble.
you want to have the same beneficiaries, the beneficiaries are still alive and well, no problem. But for many persons, isn't married, you can will it to any daughter, anybody, whether it's the one who's married or the one who isn't married. I suspect that I you want me to go to court? What evidence do I have to present to the court? No, man, you're just going to go. I have some pictures. You're going to tell the judge. It doesn't work like that. And if you go to court, the court is going to order the same thing. In fact, some judges may even throw you out of the court for lack of evidence. But you must get a surveyor's identification report. I know you know the land. And the attorney has never seen the land. You've known it for 50 years. Yes, I know you were born there. Yes, yes, and yes. But guess what? You must have the surveyor's identification report because that is the only thing that can clearly show us, indeed, that someone has come over onto your boundaries. Now, you have your surveyor's identification report. How long has the fence been like that? 15 years. You're out of luck. There's nothing we can do. Why? Because once someone has been encroaching on your land, meaning they've come over onto your boundary, let's say it's their building, the wall, the fence, they've come over onto your boundary, Once it has been like that for 7 years, not 12 in this case, when it comes to boundaries, it's 7 years. Once it's been like that for at least 7 years, then that neighbor would have acquired that portion. And this is one of the reasons we tell persons to, especially if someone is constructing close to your neighbor, to get periodic surveyor's identification reports. Can't hurt. Many persons will say that's not necessary. I have my title. There's a diagram on my title. What's on that diagram on your title issued 30, 40 years ago may have changed. Boundaries change. It happens all the time. And many persons cannot believe, they cannot conceive that boundaries change. Typical scenarios, as I just mentioned, someone has come over onto your land, and because they've been there for over 12 years, for over 7 years, they have now automatically acquired or taken in your boundary. That's one instance of boundaries changing. There you could be near the sea. You could have lost some of it to the elements. Boundaries change. So please don't rely on the old diagram attached to your title. Just like how some people stay overseas and pay their property taxes, thinking that the property is and will always be theirs. Don't be complacent. For those of you who may wish to call us in office, our office numbers at Brown Finlay and Company are 876-908-1950, 876-908-3518. The number for the Ocean River office, 876-974-6083. And you may also send us an email to gloria@landsolutionsja.com, or send us a message on Facebook, facebook.com/landsolution.
There's
We'll be right back.
one more for you,
You're
Calicia.
listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now
350. Looking to take your agricultural business to the next level? New growth opportunities are here with the Development Bank of Jamaica. Small farmers, agri-processors, and all MSMEs in the agriculture sector can access up to $30 million in loans. Visit us at www.dbankjm.com or send us a WhatsApp text message at 876-371-3830 to find out about our agribusiness loans. Conditions apply.
Tell a farmer, tell a friend, maybe EVJ have something for them. Alright, we'll try to build back better.
So there was a follow-up message, Calicia, for the person who said, my mother left me a piece of land with no papers. How can I start paying taxes or get some paperwork done? I've occupied the land for the past 20 years. Then she sends us a follow-up message. It's family land where we want to bury our old brother, but we have no papers, and I hear taxes have to be paid before burial can be done. What to do before he dies?
My advice remains the same. She has to get it surveyed, start the process of applying for a title, and then once she gets the title, then she'll be able to pay property taxes. So get a survey done ASAP.
Okay. You're listening to... Sorry, go ahead.
Hello, Dervan.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. We still have a few minutes in this segment, and therefore we can take some more of your calls, your messages, your queries, your questions. 876-922-4112-5, and the text line 876-365-3346. So feel free to keep those messages coming in and those questions, because we still have some time. So we look forward to your participation. I see that some of us are anxious to start discussing the conference yesterday. So that's for a little later on, after we would have completed this segment of both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. But a little later on, we deal with those matters. Right now, we are dealing with land-related matters, land solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. As we continue, and hello to some of our listeners who are online, listening and watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm here listening to the radio, says Faye Weller. And she says, Blessed afternoon, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. Thank God for another opportunity to be together again. Inez Ayona Campbell Murray says, Good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, viewers and listeners. Good afternoon, Inez Ayona Campbell Murray. And Valerie Weller Peck says, Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're just clearing that block. Thank you very much. But the lines are still very much open. So let's take you back to Calicia Findley as she continues to share with us useful information on today's edition of Land Solutions.
Thank you, Dervan. Continuing with our messages. Dervan, persons wait till the final segment. I have a whole host of messages coming in. Do I have to get someone's consent to put their name on a title? In rare instances, you don't. So generally, when you're putting someone on a title, they also have to sign the transfer. The transfer instrument is the document that's sent to the title's office to note a change in the ownership. On titles, we have, and you would hear us speaking about this all the time, we have, on some titles, I should say, maybe most, you have conditions or restricted covenants, and it, residential, commercial, speak to drainage, sewage, or distance covenants, how far the building should be from the road, etc. When we have titles with conditions on them and you're adding someone's name to the title, everybody who's going on the title must sign the transfer. In some instances, however, we have titles that have absolutely no conditions. They just have the property address, no conditions, blank. Where it's a case where the title has no conditions, when you're adding someone to the title, the person going on does not have to sign the transfer. So if it is a case where there are no conditions, you don't have to get someone's consent to sign the transfer. So let's just say Mary is buying property from John, and this title just so happens not to have any conditions, covenants, or encumbrances. Mary says, you know what, I want to add my sister to the title with me, Susan. Mary can simply have Susan's name inserted in the transfer. Susan doesn't have to sign. In fact, neither does Mary, because there are no conditions. So again, in certain instances where there are no conditions, you don't have to get someone's consent to have their name added to the title. But in most instances, because most titles have conditions, you have to get the person's consent. And when we speak about consent, it's not a separate document. They also have to sign the transfer instrument. If you are applying for a title, let's say it's adverse possession, and you want to add someone's name to the title, then of course that's separate. Do a separate document and get that person's consent in agreeing to add their name to the title. Do I have to go to court to remove a squatter? Is it true the squatter can sue you if you try to forcibly remove them, or do you have to go to court to remove a squatter? If there is a squatter on your land, you should serve them with a notice to leave. And I know persons like, that don't make any sense. They're there illegally. Why do I have to serve them with a notice? Yes, they're there illegally, but the courts may not know this. If you go to court and say this person is there illegally, the court is just hearing your side. There are three sides to every story. My side, your side, on the truth. So, to remove a squatter, serve them with a notice. If the notice expires and they're still there, you have to take them to court on the basis that they're there illegally. If you want a squatter removed from your property, for whatever reason they're not leaving, and you go to court to get an order to have them removed, the first thing the court is going to ask is, did you serve them with a notice? You may say no, but judgment may come back after the notice expires. So you want to remove a squatter, serve them with a notice. And the basis is that they're occupying it illegally. The second part of your question, is it true the squatter can sue you if you try to forcibly remove them? Yes, yes, as unfortunate as it may seem, they can. So someone is occupying your property, they've built a structure on it. You go in with your bulldozer to remove them. You have now destroyed their property. Yes, they're on your land without your permission. Yes, they're there illegally. The fact remains that they have this structure, which may be of some value, no matter how small the value is. And in destroying their property, they now have grounds on which to sue you. I know it is ludicrous. I know you're saying that don't make any sense and the law is unfair, but yes, so which is why we say just go through the proper channel, serve them with a notice, and then wait for that notice to expire. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a third part to the question. How can you get a legal title as a squatter if squatting is illegal? It makes no sense to me. How can you get a title for squatting if squatting is illegal? Because that's what the law says, and I get it. It's an oxymoron. It's almost like you're getting something legal also from illegal action. So yes, there is a law against trespassing. You can be prosecuted. Squatting is technically trespassing. You're there without someone's permission. But the law also says the Limitation of Actions Act that if you have been on property for at least 12 years, not only have you extinguished the paper owner's right or title to the property, but you have now acquired the right to be able to apply for a title in your name. It, like you say, it makes no sense. But more than that, that is what the law says, which is why we just have to be so careful. Listen, I can squeeze in one more message. Excuse me. If the government is selling land, do you have to accept the price they're selling it for? Can you counter offer? You can. Nothing tried, nothing done. They don't necessarily have to accept what it is that you are countering. It's similar to when you're negotiating with a private landowner. If you're going to be negotiating, ensure you have evidence to back up what it is that you are negotiating, what you are proposing. Many times persons, may just want to lowball, put in a lowball offer. So somebody will say they're selling for 20 million. Somebody will say, all right, fine, I'm giving you $10 million cash. I don't know about you, but if I'm trying to sell my property and you're offering me 50%, I'm going to be insulted and I'm not going to entertain you. So don't just pull an arbitrary figure, out of the air. Do you have a valuation? Do you at least have an opinion or a letter of value? Why are you offering this? On what basis are you presenting this offer? So we have to be wise. And sometimes the property could have been on the market for a long time, and you assume that because it's been on the market for a long time, the person is desperate to sell and they will sell it to you for any amount. Not necessarily. So yes, try and negotiate with the government. Be prepared, however, for the possibility that they may not accept what you are offering, and especially because it's government land. They have a position of power. They're not like an individual landowner who may be more motivated or more desperate to sell their property. But yes, certainly go ahead and negotiate. And of course, goes without saying, please get an attorney to represent you. As many of you would have known, I think I said it sometime, maybe last week or the week before, husband of Gloria, Norman Mills, he passed away recently. We again want to thank everyone so much for the outpouring of love and support. Um, his wife Gloria and his children, the extended family, everyone really appreciates it so much. And just to let you all know that his funeral will be this Saturday, September 21st at 12 p.m. at the Bethel Baptist Church in Hartford. Thanks again. Continue to keep the family in your prayers, and thanks as always to Dervan and the wonderful team at Core 106. This has been today's edition of Land Solutions. Take care, everyone.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Protect your wealth. If you rent, get renter's insurance to protect the contents of your home from loss due to theft or fire. Read the policy carefully to see what's covered and what isn't. Disability insurance protects your ability to earn an income by providing you with a steady income if you're unable to work for an extended period due to illness or injury. If you want help managing your money, find a fee-only financial planner to provide unbiased advice.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we are going to give you a preview of a dyslexia and reading deficit workshop series. And this is set for October 3 and 4, the 3rd and the 4th of October. And it features Dr. John J. Russell, Dr. Benjamin Powers, and Dr. Kareen Clay. And we are going to just share some of the various segments of this program. We want to first of all say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the founder and president of Winsome Wishes for Kids, Jamaica and New York, USA, and that's Simone Sobers. We're going to join Simone in a little while, and we're also going to be hearing from Dr. John J. Russell, Special Projects Advisor at the Winwood Institute and Associate Director of Haskins Global Literacy Hub, with decades of experience in childhood literacy. and he's committed to advancing education for students with language-based learning disabilities. So that's what we're looking at. But at the same time, encouraging those who are able to mark the dates, save the dates, October 3rd and 4th, for this dyslexia and reading deficit, the series of dyslexia and reading deficit workshops. So we're going to hear now from our guests in just a moment. And it's an opportunity to liberate, in a manner of speaking, to liberate so many of our children who have learning disabilities, reading disabilities, etc. So we look forward to a life-changing experience for these students, children who are going to be engaged during the period of the workshop. So that is coming up. And we are going to say hello once again and welcome to the founder and president of Winsome Wishes for Kids Jamaica and New York, USA, aimed at transforming educational opportunities for disadvantaged children in Jamaica. Welcome, Simone Sobers.
Good afternoon, Dervan, Malcolm. Thank you for having us on. We're excited to share about the upcoming workshop.
Can you give us...
October 3rd and 4th.
Sorry, I was just going to say, can you just give us or remind us of the background of Winsome Wishes for Kids?
Okay, so as you shared earlier, I am the president and founder of Winsome Wishes for Kids out of New York, and recently registered in Jamaica last May 2023, and we are dedicated to supporting Jamaican children, teachers, and parents. Our mission is to foster literacy and break down the stigma associated with special education in Jamaica. We believe that investing in educational needs of the Jamaican children is extremely important, regardless of their abilities, especially during their early childhood years, will yield significant educational and social benefits to our beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
And back in 2021, we gave the entire Jamaica the Grapha Game app, a free download, no connectivity needed to play this awesome game. And I am thrilled to share that the number of schools we're in about over almost 30 schools.
All right, I know you're excited.
Take it. It's doing well.
Yes, but we also are excited to hear and to experience. So, what can you tell us with respect to the Grapha game?
Well, as I shared, the Grapha game is free to every resident of Jamaica. Once downloaded, no connectivity is needed. The Grapha game is designed and developed to support children with dyslexia and ADHD. And that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So it supports all learners and those with other challenges. And challenges such as dyslexia and ADHD. We are in a number of schools. The schools are loving it. The children are embracing it, and we are seeing great improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we want. We want to see children moving into a positive direction and not stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
We met a child back in February out of Belfield, Manchester Primary, and this little girl was not reading. We introduced the graphic game to Belfield, and boy, when the teacher shared the video in June, I was just in awe. I can't imagine if this child had this game from September of 2023, what the outcome would have been at the end of the school year, because what I saw was remarkable.
Yes.
So the game has the potential to, one, meet the child where they're at, and two, provide the basic fundamentals in literacy over one school year. Achievable.
What's the secret sauce, in a manner of speaking? What?
The secret sauce is that it meets the child where they're at. It is designed not to include adults. It's designed to keep the child engaged. And while they're engaged and having fun, they're learning to read and they don't even realize all that.
That sounds quite magical.
It sounds magical, and because our children are gamified generation, it is meeting them right there. They're having fun and they're learning to read, and that's the key.
And yes, indeed, a good point to bring Dr. John J. Russell into the mix here as well.
As a matter of fact, Dr. John Russell can share a little bit more on the graphic game, because he and his colleague, Dr. Benjamin Powers, which we will have the privilege to have in Jamaica, they are the mastermind behind the U.S. American version English of the graphic game. Graphic game was born and developed out of Finland, and it's now in 30 different languages. And Dr. Powers and Dr. Russell are behind the U.S. English version.
This is quite remarkable. And so the upcoming, what do you call it, a workshop?
The workshops and training, correct.
Mm-hmm. So
it's
those
highlight on the dyslexia and to improve on the reading deficits that we are seeing gravely across the island in our children, and it's to provide the secret sauces in the phonological awareness training, and along with executive functioning skills training,
yes,
which is to help our children organize, like study skills,
yes,
and to train our teachers how to implement such tools as they are teaching, so it becomes habitual and not burdensome.
You seem to have other connections or partners on board as well, like for example the Winwood Institute and was it Haskins?
Haskins Global Literacy Hub. So Dr. Russell is a former special project of the Winwood Institute. He's also a former principal of the Winwood School, and he's one of the associate directors at the Haskins Global Literacy Hub and a lecturer at the Yale University Child Mind Institute. And we have Dr. Benjamin, who is the current headmaster at Port School in Connecticut, and he's also a director at the Haskins Global Literacy Hub. So these folks are a lover of literacy, a lover of learning, and they just want to impart their knowledge, research, and help equip our Jamaican teachers so that they can work smarter and not harder, and so that our children can be nurtured in the art of the science in reading.
Right. And I take note of the fact that dyslexia is top of the list, dyslexia and reading deficit workshops. How how significant is this development?
So this lecture, so when Commission for Kids, we have been doing some screenings across the country for the last 3.5 years. We do both primary and prep. We have done in a city and rural, and the challenges are in all the different areas in our schools. From what we saw that dyslexia was running on par with ADHD, and we want to
ADHD, that's attention deficit
disorder,
hyperactivity
hyperactive disorder. Yes,
disorder.
sometimes you can have both.
Mhm.
And we saw that the percentages were among over 1,100 students were concerning, and we're saying if these 1,100 and more students are just from these 8 different schools, different areas of Jamaica, I can't imagine what's going on in the rest of
The country.
the school population.
Oh.
And we addressed some of the ADHD concerns earlier this year in 2 workshops with both parents and teachers, and we are now moving to dyslexia. So we're equipping our teachers, we're giving them the tools and the resources so that they can, be ready to work and support and nurture the children's educational development.
Mhm.
And the reading deficit is of that because sometimes things look like dyslexia when it is really not. So we want to put both. We want to share both information so that teachers understand what the dyslexia looks like versus from a child that has reading gaps,
Okay.
and not put it under the heading of dyslexia.
One moment, please. We need to take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment as we continue the discussion on this upcoming series of workshops, October 3rd and 4th. And its focus is on dyslexia and reading deficit workshops, and organized by Winsome Wishes for Kids. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding.
A message from the Ministry.
Thanks a lot for staying with us on today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. A couple of special guests on board with us. Dr. John J. Russell, Special Projects Advisor at the Windward Institute and Associate Director of Hashkin's Global Literacy Hub, with decades of experience in childhood literacy. Uh, he's quite competent in advancing education for students with language-based learning disabilities. Now, going to the break, Dr. John Russell, I was wondering, how do you know for sure, having prescribed a response or uh, an understanding of what is happening? I mean, is it possible, if you're not careful, that you it is possible. Is it possible to have a situation where there is uh, the diagnosis seems a little off, for example, but it's it appears to be something else, but you're not sure. Is it that complicated or is it straightforward? Dr. Russell? I think we lost.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, what I was saying is a perfect question, and it's the right question to ask every time you have a child who is presenting reading issues. You never want to make a diagnosis without having been really carefully examining the data that you have on from various testing measures, reports from parents, and most importantly, also reports from teachers. Dyslexics present a profile that allows you to identify them. There are no set cut points. In other words, in if you have a temperature of over 98 degrees, say you have a fever. If you have it less than 98 degrees, they say you don't have a fever. But dyslexia, it's a continuum, and so it takes a really well-trained psychologist uh, or special education teacher to be able to offer a diagnosis. What importantly, though, what we can do and what we are doing is screening all children that we have been working with in Jamaica for potential reading difficulties. And those children need and will receive specialized teaching, which we will be doing the training in October for some of the teachers, the start of the training. It's a long process. But all teachers and all students will benefit from that. And then to the students who don't respond would be more likely to be diagnosed as dyslexic uh, simply because they are not responding to the interventions we're providing. Whereas a child without dyslexia would respond immediately. And so those students with dyslexia might require a more intensive program that would be administered instead of the normal classroom program.
are there sort of predispositions on account of maybe family traits or related matters?
Again, you must have done your homework because that's exactly correct. Uh, there is a genetic component, uh, and it's not definitive in the sense that if your parent had dyslexia, you'll have dyslexia. Uh, but if one of the parents has dyslexia, there's a 40 to 60% chance that the child will have dyslexia. If both your parents have dyslexia and siblings have dyslexia, it's much higher than that. It's probably 90% chance that you'll have dyslexia. So uh, genetics do play a role in it. Now, it's important to point out that uh, this is not a deficit by itself. What it is a way of learning to read and a way of learning to write and a way of learning to speak. And all of these, what all these children need is to be instructed correctly. And when they're instructed correctly, you really can't tell when someone has dyslexia or not, for the vast majority of students that have dyslexia. And as Simone mentioned, I have 20 years experience where I ran a school of 1,000 students, and all of them were diagnosed with dyslexia. When the students left our school, the Windward School, 98% of them, year after year after year, and I did a longitudinal study on this, 98% of them are reading in the average to above average range. So dyslexia is a condition that requires scientifically based reading instruction, and unfortunately, too many teachers in Jamaica and in the United States have not been trained appropriately in these measures, so they're unable to provide the instruction that these students need to flourish. And our goal, as Simone mentioned, is to help literacy in Jamaica, not only in these four schools, but hopefully these four schools can serve as a lighthouse for other schools to emulate and follow. So, again, I compliment you for two good questions in a row.
Mhm. And in terms of resources to reach more of these students, these children, how is that going?
Well, I'll let Simone answer, of course, but I would just give you my perspective.
Hmm.
One of the things that I think we are capable of doing, and hopefully we'll be able to do soon, is to train Jamaican teachers so that they can train other Jamaican teachers. Uh, because we don't, at the Haskins Global Literacy Hub at Yale, uh, we don't have the personnel resources to be able to take on that endeavor, but we do have the commitment, the dedication, and the expertise to train a cadre of teachers that hopefully will be able to train other teachers across Jamaica. And that's my hope for your country and for the teachers and for the children of Jamaica. Simone, I don't know if you want to add or correct me on any of what I just said.
No, you are correct. That is our aim. But in order to do that, we need resources of corporate Jamaica and both public and private to, come on in and support us so that we can support the children. Because as we all know, it takes cash to care, and we would love to see our teachers equipped to the point where they can really nurture our children's educational growth, whether it be dyslexia, ADHD, dysgraphia, any of the learning challenges that exist, so that we can empower, enhance, enrich both the teachers, parents, and the children of Jamaica.
Hmm.
So I invite corporate Jamaica to come on in, let us invest in our future so that we can have and build a better Jamaica.
Hmm. Yes, indeed. So say all of us. All right.
So I thank you, Dervan, for having us. We really appreciate it. If you have, we're happy to answer any more questions that you have.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for obliging. We thank you both
My
for.
pleasure. It was a pleasure to be on with you this afternoon. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
So thank you, Dr. Russell. Thank you, Dervan Malcolm of Nationwide. We appreciate it. And if you don't mind, let me thank JetBlue for coming on in, AC Hotel, Higher Potential for Learning, and Person as our ambassador for highlighting our events. And we look forward to seeing our teachers and parents, because it takes both the parents and teachers to help guide, nurture our children's educational journey. So thank
Okay.
you again. We really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. And October 3rd and 4th, www.kids.org for further information.
Thank you very much, Simone Sobers.
Thank you, sir.
All the
Have a great
best.
rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
You too.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we have taken you through a couple of phases of the programming this afternoon, and we are about to close out in terms of the next segment. The next segment will focus on what's on your mind. What are your issues? What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? What are your queries? Etc. And the lines are open. 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. Looking forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, both sides of the story. Oliver Burrell says, "Good evening, Dervan. I was watching the PNP conference yesterday. Most of what the leader talked about is what Andrew Holness doing right now. These people look to me that they're just hungry for power," says Oliver Burrell. Thank you for your message on our text line 876 365 3346, and the regular call-in lines 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. Let's see if we can clear some of these messages after we take this break coming up right now on today's edition of Both Sides of the Story.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
This message is brought to you by the Jamaica Environment Trust.
We have a right to a healthy environment. At the last, so don't break our limit. Anybody who pollute cause big problems. Don't just watch it, you have to report them.
We need clean air to breathe, good healthy food to eat, grown clean and naturally. We have to take responsibility.
Excessive deforestation, burning garbage, dust and noise creation is an unlawful violation. We have to practice conservation. We have a right to a healthy environment. And the law, so don't break our limit. If you have an issue, make a complaint. Let's work together to protect Jamaica. We have a right to a healthy environment. And the law, so don't break our limit. We have to do it hard to keep the place clean and take care of our island safe.
We all have a right to a healthy and clean environment. Report any issues to the authorities if you feel your rights have been breached. Call the Jamaica Environment Trust for more information.
Now united is within. All we always need to hear both sides of the story. When the lights are all on, the world is watching now. People looking for truth, we must not wait now. Be sure before we close our eyes. Walk away from here till you see both sides. No.
Couple of messages that came through that weren't publicized. Sir Malcolm, to some extent this one was. Sir Malcolm, the citizens on Brooks Level Road in Stony Hill need the councillor to get Brooks Level Road grade off and resurfaced. The roads stay real bad in front of the market. The same stench, I think you wanted to say, awful. Okay. Yes, indeed. We have to call out the councillors and the MPs and all the other individuals who are supposed to be stewards of the community, of the constituency, of the country. We can no longer take those things for granted for those of us who perhaps have or have been. Thank you for your message. And let's see. This one says, let's go to, where is it? From Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, I think the JLP realized that they are in big trouble because if cartel is the only thing they see to comment on, it is not looking good on the JLP side. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a lot more jumping ship. That's from Horace, otherwise known as Spider. And he goes on to say, oh, and I am in Spalding, Manchester. And where's the rest of this message? So the person is in Spalding, Manchester. Okay. So he's saying, oh, and I'm in Spalding, Manchester now. All right. We hope it is not too cold for you. Thank you for your message. Here's another one coming through. This one saying, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Is Obia legal in Jamaica along with sacrificial rituals? The reason for asking is on nomination day in St. Anne's Bay, we saw a JLP Obia man with something like a head walking around with. That's gross. All right, thank you for sharing that message, the situation notwithstanding. And we're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And this one, yeah, we read that one already. So let's move right along here on both sides of the story. Franklin MacDonald has spent the usual time with us online and given us a lot of food for thought. The most recent one, the world's second largest diamond discovered in Botswana. He has highlighted that development. All right, let's continue with more here on both sides of the story. Para 106. Where do we start? This one says, hi, Dervan. Can I have contact number or email for Dr. Russell or his assistant regarding the learning program? Thank you. All right, so that number, let's see if we can bring it up here. In just a moment. Yes, so to that number, there's so many things happening on this phone. Let's see if we can still get it to do all those things. So we have the links. We have the numbers. What is to get them out? Not seeing them. But you want to make sure that you have the number. Where is that sheet of paper there? Let's see. That's one with someone telling us that they want to see, they want to get the number. Is in the same. Oh, okay, here we go. So somebody here has the contact number. Somebody has been paying attention. Email. Can I have the contact number? That's what she's asking. All right, we'll come back to it. Please bear with us. We have the numbers, but we do have the numbers. But for some strange reason, it's not coming up. It's not where it was. I don't know. But it's now becoming consuming. I can't do the 3 or 4 things at the same time. But see if we can bring up the numbers. 876 858 9802. That's a good number to try. And there's also 876 774 4997. All right, and we can still follow up on those. In the meantime, let's see who else. I'm checking to see if, okay. All right, let's clear some of these messages now. Something that happened in, this person says this happened in Prickly Pole, St. Anne. Yeah, but we're not seeing that, what happened. We're just hearing that. We're not seeing. Could you get the data of all not sure what this is, caused by overtaking a line of traffic? That's taking us back a couple of weeks. Not sure what that is about. And let's see. Reverend Dr. Frank Lawrence, otherwise known as Free Villager, is online as well. He says, greetings to my brother and teacher. I'm pleased to see Jamaicans responding to the need for improving conditions in Haiti. I was involved in a missionary organization providing health care, assisting with community development and other social basic needs in the St. Mark area of the country. Jamaicans were well remembered for the leadership Jamaica has provided over the years. Hope Jamaican church organizations will unite and rise to the occasion in meeting the spiritual and other basic needs of Haiti, a country with a rich history and heritage. And this message is from Reverend Dr. Frank Lawrence, otherwise known as Free Villager and Community Development Facilitator. And let's see who else is messaging us here on both sides of the story. Poro 106 FM. And this one says, "Hi, Dervan." Hi. This it looks like this one is out of the UK. Yeah, this is out of the UK. H. Morgan in Birmingham asks when the offering is collected. Where is that now? Let's see. All right, let's come to this point. Yes, when, I think we went through this already, is collected in the church, a portion is put aside to support the hospital. Dervan Andrews Memorial Hospital cannot be taken over by the government. The hospital is owned solely by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The hospital is financed by the members and the revenue they generate. Andrews never asked the government for help. It is a private institution, just like Medical Associates Hospital and other private institutions. But I appreciate what the caller is saying. The public deserves better, indeed. And the second part of this message, when the offering is collected in the church, a portion is put aside to support the hospital. Thus, the members get a 10% discount when they go to the hospital. From H. Morgan in Birmingham, thank you for your message. And let's go. What time is it? Time for a break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:50. Looking to take your agricultural business to the next level? New growth opportunities are here with the Development Bank of Jamaica. Small farmers, agro-processors, and all MSMEs in the agriculture sector can access up to $30 million in loans. Visit us at www.dbankjm.com or send us a WhatsApp text message at 876-371-3830 to find out about our agribusiness loans. Conditions apply.
Tell a farmer, tell a friend, the DBJ have some for them. All right, we are trying to build back better.
People looking for truth, we must have faith now. Be sure before we close our eyes, walk away from here to hear the signs. No, 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 no.
Thanks for sharing this photograph, Patrick Needham. Thanks for sharing. He says, that's my son, Elijah. Yesterday was his graduation. Please give him congrats. He is listening. Thanks, Patrick Irijam. Well done. Well done. Well done to you, Elijah, and all the very best. And we trust you had an inspiring graduation. How about that? And he goes on to say, oh no, that was last Friday's message. So this one from Miss Dell. She says, Mr. Dervan, you have that man cussing us all evening. You will not even disagree with anything he says. Nearing 2 hours now. Not the intention, wasn't the plan. That's how it evolved. Such is the nature of such a program. Let's keep it going here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line same as the WhatsApp number. 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And let's see who else is hitting us up online. Velta Wilson, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for making it both sides of the story. We appreciate you and are delighted that you could join us for yet another afternoon of both sides of the story. In the meantime, we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And let's see who is hitting us up now. This is coming in from Steve McDonald in Toronto, Canada. Good afternoon, Steve. How are you?
Good afternoon, Dervan.
Fine, thanks.
Good afternoon to your listeners and people first on and Slav in particular, and also Leonard within Dallas and my man in Spain. Dervan, I must tell you that I really have to question what is happening in Jamaica and if we're really serious in terms of changes and where we want to go. And I'm speaking specifically to what transpired at the PNP conference yesterday, and one of the persons who they had on stage, in terms of Sir Cartel, and just considering what their what would have been second in command, former Minister of National Security, how he described him back in the days, and then to see that he took center stage, or the PNP party allowed him to take center stage at their conference while asking us to vote them in for the next government. It's really concerning that they thought that was a good idea. And what is even concerning too is the fact that their bigwigs are all over the place now trying to defend that. And I really find that interesting that they think that is something that should be accepted by us Jamaican. The other thing that I even found interesting too was that I was there, and this is what I think was the last nail in the coffin, pun intended, since the man had anyway. The fact that yesterday he was the featured guest on Digital and TVJ as the rising star guest, and I'm wondering, hold on, have we totally lost it as a society? We can't be on one hand claiming that we want moral and decency and we don't want school people to beat up teacher and we don't want them to cuss and fight and we don't want them to have sex in the classroom and all of that. And then at the same time, we have put on someone on national TV who's promoting that. So I wonder, like, I'm expecting the people them who run TVJ and digital, they have a little bit more sense more than that. And then at the same time, this morning, I'm looking for the massive outcry, the shouting from the PSOJs, the Churches Association, Ital, and what I heard was deafening silence. But come January morning, the church is going to call up and say we're going to have prayer breakfast. And then these things that they should be outspoken about, they're quiet. So, you know, when we look at all of that, Dervan, I said, boy, we're not serious. We're not serious. And you know, we look back to the days of the 70s and 80s where the Dons played a major role in our politics. And we hear different people get up and talk, say, boy, we thank God, so, you know, we're not there anymore. But they say that, you know, the saying that you go to school, that you don't ever manage. That, what is it? Who is it, Marcus? If we don't know, who is it? If we don't know our history, we fail to repeat it. We're prone to repeat it.
Mm-hmm. Essentially,
right?
Marcus Garvey.
Yes. Yeah. And people without the knowledge of their history, and we're going back down that same path. we're hogging it up. And the people who are supposed to know better are applauding it and making excuses for it, even if it was an error. No, come out this morning and try to defend it. Don't. We can't condemn our people to these things, man. We cannot. And then TBJ and TBJ and digital people them I know endorse it and they say so. I mean, you're no saying the man did say, yeah, and I mean for raise your picnic, but we're now indirectly saying that, hey, we agree with this man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if when the PNP form the next government, they're awarding this man a national award. Like, oh, come on.
Well, M Jam on YouTube says, caller, you are absolutely correct about Vibes Cartel. It is disgraceful concerning, where did it go? It is disgraceful concerning our moral compass.
And he's correct. He's correct, Dervan. And, you know, what I find disappointed is that I'm not hearing nothing from and I'm going to call no name, but the big names that we always hear and talk and come on for radio. The Jamaica Constabulary did not come out and object to whatever happened. Nobody, churches, them silent. Lawyers Association silent. Christian Association silent. Everybody silent. All of the leaders in our country are silent on this. And then them come talk about the man them sing some blood to run, head to blow, mirror to blow in the water, in the stream in the water. And how can we now come and claim that we don't want these sort of things? This is not where we want to go as a country. How can the Christian Association, any pastor come now and come and talk about morals? How can anybody? How can the Jamaica Teachers Association, anybody come and talk about morals and they're deafening silence on this? Nobody, not the PM, not even the PM, nobody. Mr. PJ who was talking about values and attitude, nothing. Like, where are we going as a country and how can we remain silent? Is only one person? Only two people know with that gentleman that you quoted have an issue with this. Like, I mean, where are we going? Where are we going? Afterwards and before they were talking about crime and criminality, and then you put that man on the stage who has a questionable character, and I'm putting it mildly. And then they're up and about talking, oh, he was exonerated for the crimes that he committed. He was not. I mean, and even the whole thing was a farce because the Jamaican government even commit a criminal act, in my opinion, in terms of they continuing. It's just like it's one big cesspool based on what going, Dervan. Anyway, my brother, I'm not telling no lie, bun me. It hurt me because there I am, broken my neck, investing my own money in different ventures to see I can give back to Jamaica in the philanthropic ways. And at this, I say I combo. I could have used my money where I used to do what I did, investing in my children's future, but I wanted to see a better Jamaica. And at this, may I say, at this, the opposition and I say is right. And then the government, them silent about it. And then everybody else silent about it. No, man. No. This can't be right. Anyway, Dervan, I'm too upset about you. So I might say, well, I'm not supposed to say my friend Cardet read my cup down on you. Because, yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for the moment. And,
Yes.
I'm just appealing to everyone. I'm appealing to everyone. And I've made this appeal before. I'm going to make it again. Talk to the churches. Talk to the buses.
Hold a moment, please. Hold a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Understand, it's in your power to have a positive relationship with money. A change in our financial situation starts with a change in how we think about money. Clearing out any negative feelings like insecurity or fear about money can help remove the blockages that may prevent improving your financial well being. Your relationship with money is not fixed, it's one that can evolve over your lifetime. Three important things about the psychology behind your relationship with money. Money is about emotions, not just finance. Anxiety or avoidance of money issues may create a vicious cycle, and your upbringing may affect how you manage your money. With awareness, insight, and knowledge, you can start working to make empowered decisions about your money. You need to the job, a little respect, you get out while you can. We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Thanks for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Yes, Steve, I'll give you the opportunity to finish what you were saying.
Yes. I my 15 minutes of fame is over, so I'm going to come off my soapbox, but I'm just appealing to everyone. And we have to take that Jamaica. We have to become part of our own governance. And, we right now, most, if not all of our political leaders are available on Twitter. Send a tweet to them. Let your employer know that you're not satisfied with their silence on what they have done. And it's not for you, Tina Dervan. Let your employer at TVJ, RJRP, with them know that you're not agree with this.
I was trying to go the opposite direction, which is to not appear to be giving more more time to that as opposed to the other way.
We have to send a very strong message that we won't tolerate certain things. So it's not about giving time. I remember when Butcher Banton came back out and people said serving sentence. But one of the first things that Boxley did was invite him to, or one of the things that the Honorable Ms. Mickey Barr did was to invite him to participate in the festival competition. And like, really? This other thing there, at this way show as morals and you are you come back and we just run and hug you. And he was also on the stage and he was also at the last PNP at the People's PNP conference. Nobody never said no. And so things get, because we're not saying anything get developed, and this is how it moved from 1 to 2, and yesterday was 3. Yesterday was 3 of them, right? But I mean, we don't really have too much to say about the other 2, but still, again, as them say, show me your company and I tell you who you are. But I have some problem with the separatists, them having a separatist on. And I really have some fundamental problems with them roots, because I don't support nobody whoever, because they're going to get their freedom by turning in my 4 parents. Them. I really support them, I roots them from that, but that's a different thing. We want to hug them up, then hug them up. But still, if you all hug them up, then I'll hug them up. So, that's the from that aspect. We have to let our leaders know what we're standing for and what we won't tolerate. And we haven't done that. At the same meeting yesterday, I know that I said my 15 minutes finished, but at the same meeting yesterday, one of the person from Manchester said that he thanked Skendon for helping him. And it was the same Rise United who put out an article when referring to it was actually on the Peter Bunting's thing, Skendon and Danai as washed up dance. So I don't understand what we are dealing with. I'm gonna know if we can't, if the top dirty, the bottom are dirty. We can't be saying our leaders are doing one thing, and then when the people at the bottom end do the same thing, everybody them are scam, them are do this, but our leaders are free to openly associate themselves with people of questionable character. Like, make no sense. And we have to make them know so we don't go back down that road again. You are a little bit younger, well, wholly younger than I went through it. I know what it was during the 70s and 80s, more so the 80s, right? And knew what the associations were all about. Remember, Zeke's cup, then couldn't quiet Zeke's when Zeke's when have to come out and quiet. The crowd was a big embarrassment to PJ, right? And then them lock him down. But you had Jim Brown and you had Siaga, you had Peter Phillips and Omar Davis go with the Agard funeral. Like, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. And we have to make them know so we don't tolerate it no more. And if a digital want to tolerate it, then you have to go. If TBJ want to tolerate it, you have to go. That is not what we're dealing with, right? And we have to tell these people that your morals and our morals are not the same. So as what they went tell, as the pastor went said to Vegas, usher him out. So it may be the time now that we need to usher out these politicians. We may need to usher out Digicel. We may need to usher out TVJ because their morals don't longer coincide with the type of country that we want. Anyway, I say I'm gone. So I'm very upset about this, Dervan, and we'll talk. Thank you very much for the time. Yeah, thank you very much for the time, and all the best. And
okay.
This past Friday, no. As I said, faith without works is dead, so we need the works now. All right, thanks, Dervan. All the best.
Okay, bye. You too. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, Mr. Malcolm, they finally fixed Russell Road yesterday. Well, let's see for how long that will stay fixed. But at least there is some movement there. Let's go up the line and see who else is messaging us. Mr. Malcolm, please remind the caller that he as a convicted felon running for president, and they are silent. It's called marketing. Mr. Palmer and Mr. Banton are free citizens. Here's another one. I could shake Steve McDonald's hand. I agree with him 100%. How can these people want to see a better Jamaica? And this is the best example they have to set for this generation. I am so upset. What made it worse is when he was also invited as a guest judge on Rising Stars last night. I immediately turned off the TV. TVJ is also a part of the problem, says this person. And this one says, thank you, King, for your support always. You're welcome. Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, the JLP administration where does it start? Sir Malcolm. Let's go back up here. Sir Malcolm, I noticed there was no paying of citizens to go to the PNP's 86th annual conference yesterday. Citizens went to the PNP conference at their free will. No forcing or intimidation of citizens, and the national arena was packed tightly like sardines in a can. It was a river flooded with orange color. The PNP has the JLP up against the wall, waiting to deliver the knockout blow. Sir Malcolm, when you fling a stone into a pig pen, the one who got hit the hardest, they're the ones who will squeal loudly. Sir Malcolm, Mr. Cartel gets the JLP very upset. The JLP I'm not familiar with that expression. I'm going to move past that. Yes, we must give them. Okay. All right. Cuban in Georgia, we see your messages. Thank you very much. And let's hold it there for the time being and take some more of your messages and your calls here on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. As we continue with more on both sides of the story here on Paro 106 FM, awaiting more of your general feedback. 876-922-4112. 112 to 5. And the text line 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. So we'll listen out for our fellow Jamaicans and what else they have to say on these matters. And let's see, no new messages so far. Well, let's see. But the lines are still open, so feel free. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. Sir Malcolm, okay, you're obviously having fun. Let's see, Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says congratulations to the PM for the first sitting PM getting his doctorate. Also the first sitting PM whose statutory declaration cannot be verified, going 3 years now. And as we have been saying over that period of time, there is only one way to lead, and that is by example. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Poor roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road, and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
"14 minutes going up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5, and the text line 876 365 3346. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling Both Sides of the Story.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Heading to work, but I listen program. I'm trying to think about the Prime Minister and him doctorate. Quick question for you, because no time is going. Is online class or him physically in the class?
If what?
Online class him doing or him physically in the class, like sit in the class and ask teacher question?
No, it's more of a ceremonial nature.
Yeah, I don't get you, cause
it's just like having a governor general who is ceremonial, but not the president.
And I know the point why I asked you, I know a prime minister is a man who busy and have to be in and out of the country, so I'm a little bit curious to hear about it.
Well, now you know.
All right, boss. Tomorrow, I know what time is running and I have to go to work,
All right. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Take care. This is both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. We still have a few minutes to go before we start wrapping today's edition of the program. But we still have a few minutes for you to express yourselves here on both sides of the story. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5 and the text line 876-365-3346. And the discussion will continue, no doubt, and it should. Truth must be spoken. Let it be done. Horace is. We see your messages, Horace. We see your messages. Let's see. Mr. Malcolm, what is the JLP saying that some of the plans the PNP spoke about yesterday, some of what is the JLP idea? If that is the thinking of the JLP, maybe we wouldn't have the wheel today. And by the way, is the green plate area idea too? Okay, Horace, otherwise known as Spider, we got your message. Cuban in Georgia is at it again, messaging us. He says, Sir Malcolm, what about some of the substance of the conference? The one about evening class for the citizens who can't read brilliantly, crafted by the opposition leader. Sir Malcolm, how did he find time to go to school? Who was in charge of the country in 2019 when this happened? I would need a little more information on this one. Not sure what is the subject. In the meantime, a few more of your messages before we wrap. 876-922-4112-5. 876-365-3346. The WhatsApp line and the text line, one and the same. And thank you for your messages. Thank you for sharing your perspective, your thoughts, your ideas, your philosophy. Thank you for being a part of the program. As we keep it going here with just a few more minutes to go, we thank you for once again making it both sides of the story here on Poro 106 FM. This person says, well, I don't know if it's a change of subject. What is this? Hi, Dervan. The Bogwalk Gorge is still waiting to be addressed, says this person. Thank you for that timely reminder. And M Jam on YouTube says he's asking, how did the PM work full time and earned a PhD at the same time? Let's see. M Jam, thank you for your message. As we continue with more here on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. More opportunities to reflect on what is happening, what has happened, and what is to come. And how do we respond? As we continue with more here on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM. Cuban in Georgia says we need our citizens to be literate and the PNP is educating the poor and the market vendors. Let's all get the country trained and educated to take on the future, says Cuban in Georgia. Thank you for your message, Cuban in Georgia. As we continue with more on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM, 876-922-4112-5, and the text line 876-365-3346. As we couple of responses so far. And we'll stand by to close out today's edition of Both Sides of the Story. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. And here is perhaps one last one before we have to wrap. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hearing you now.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I just listened to some of the comments just now about the Prime Minister's PhD. I don't vote because I have no trust in politicians. I have no favorite. Hello?
We're hearing you clearly.
Okay. But just listening to some of the comments about how they find time to study and who was running the country and all of that. I mean, I think it took him maybe around 3 years to get the degree. And in all fairness to him, I mean, he must have some me time for himself to do what he wanted to do. And if my memory serves me Right. I think Portia Miller Simpson, she got her bachelor's degree, I think when she was prime minister. She was studying,
Yes.
but she was the prime minister and got her bachelor's. Maybe a lot of people don't know that, but she did get her bachelor's while she was in government.
PhD.
So no, she got her bachelor's, Portia. And I think it was a bachelor's. No, she wasn't doctor. She wasn't Dr. Portia. She
Okay.
did get a bachelor's. That I know. The prime minister is a PhD.
Mhm.
But good God, man, allow the man to live.
Mhm.
We all need to have our space. He must have some time for himself to in a matter of maybe 3 years to do what he has to do.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
happy for him.
Well, we're out of time. Thank you very much for the call
Oh, okay.
and all the
All right.
best.
All the same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Can we thank you once again for the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Monday, the 16th of September, 2024. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Thank you very much, Adrian Reed, for doing duties. All the best.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible. Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Coming on in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Monday, September 16, 2024. Senior prosecutor bemoans absence of legislative changes to deal with rising number of cases relating to sexual offences. Case dismissed against a 14-year-old St. James schoolboy charged with the stabbing death of a 15-year-old schoolmate. Relatives, colleagues mourn death of constables killed in Clarendon crash yesterday. Jamaica Medical Doctors Association partially satisfied with outcome of meeting with Minister of Finance. In business news, cost of goods and services in the local economy rose by an average of 6.5% for the 12 months ending August.